everybody. Welcome to another episode of Stage Diving with Scotty. My guests today are 12 years today. Welcome, guys.
Hey, thank you.
Hi. Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah. I know
Thanks
this is kind of a long
Thanks for getting
way.
us. Thanks for getting up so early for us.
Yeah.
It's so nice of you.
It's what, 6 o'clock here and 10 o'clock your time. But
Well, it's 9, but I mean,
9.
it's still.
what?
Yeah,
we're
10.
You lied to me, Jason.
No, you asked 10 first, and I was like, no, it's 9. I think it's that early for you, dude.
Yeah.
My wife's pointing at me. He's right. To you, Jason, you're right. I'm not.
Oh, I know, I'm right.
We're off to a great start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, guys. So you guys actually are in Canada, right?
Yep.
Okay. And the sun looks like it's just blaring on your face there.
Yeah, it's weird because the sun goes and obviously I'll end up in a different direction at one point. So I was thinking, well, I got to make sure I'm facing this way so the sun doesn't wash me out. And I didn't realize, because I'm not used to doing these things at 9 o'clock in the morning, like, all right, the sun's there first. Okay.
That's lead singer syndrome. Just loves the spotlight. That's all that is.
All the glory right there.
Yeah.
Truth be told, you can tell I'm wearing the old puffy vest. It is not very warm in my little space here. So I made my own space finally, but it is
so
not
Canadian.
insulated very well.
That's so Canadian.
Right?
I'm inside, but wearing a winter vest.
That is the most Canadian thing you can get.
It's awesome.
Wait,
So this is gonna be a banging area in the spring, summer, and fall.
Mhm.
In the winter time, yeah. If it was a couple days ago, I'd probably be wearing a toque.
Mhm.
So hold on. So then, how far do you guys live away from each other in Canada?
Right now, about half an hour. Potentially, I just sold my house, and I'm thinking. I told James originally that I was thinking about moving to like Atlantic Canada, like the east coast of Canada, which would be where I was looking is about 14 hours, 15 hours away. And then James was like, dude, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And surprise, thinking about doing it again. So I mean, the half an hour is pretty sweet. It's actually, when we first started, we lived down the road from each other.
Yeah.
So that was
Literally
super
like
easy.
5 minutes, if not even.
Yeah,
Oh,
not
wow.
even.
I could
yeah.
put a song. I could start a 3.5 minute song on my driveway on the way out, and it would just be wrapping up by the time I pulled in his driveway.
and then I was like, yeah, I'm moving to so and so, and he's like, dude, I'm like, it's not that bad. It's half hour. It's like, yeah, all right. And now it's just like, now I'm moving
Hey, I'm
across.
gonna move to the other side of the country now.
And then he's like, dude.
I gotta plan a full day for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, then do you guys actually record? Okay, so for when you guys record, okay, so kind of like the spacing effect, you guys are a studio recording band, not necessarily a touring band or a gigging band, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was never off the table to do that, like to do the gigging and stuff like that. But yeah, we just record everything. I record us. It's been in a couple of bedrooms, living room, kind of just wherever's convenient for us at the time. And
So is that your place, Jason, or is it?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's enough space here where we won't annoy people and all that. No, it's just handy here, and yeah, that's what we do.
So who plays what?
As
far
He
as
plays
instrumental.
everything.
Yeah, I feel like such an asshole for saying that, but I mean it's
Oh,
true
it's
though.
true.
But yeah, like I write and record the music, and I mean this is going back. Like I don't even know if James knows this, but man, I'm the talking guy in the morning podcasts, eh?
Yeah, you were full of crap what you said this morning.
Well,
James
because
was quiet.
we always do podcasts in the evening. We always do podcasts in the evening, and I'm just like, my bedtime's like 9:30, man. I'm out at 9:30, no exceptions.
That's because you're in your prime at this point.
I'm
Look at
firing
him.
in all cylinders. I ground my own coffee this morning. I'm good. Yeah, dude. Anyway, what was I
going.
saying? What was I saying?
I don't know. Oh, you're talking about how awesome you are.
Yeah, yeah. And how
No.
I assume because you do everything, and James
do
just
everything.
is the
Oh,
yes
right,
man.
right. So yeah. So at my old house, just prior to starting this with James, I wanted to do a Breaking Benjamin cover. And I was like, I know I can sing, but I know that I'm pretty sure that I don't sound good. Like you can sing and not sound good.
Oh yeah.
Right. And that could be, I mean, we could talk about that all day too. But so I'm just like, I mustered up the courage and I'm like, all right, I forget what the song was. Doesn't matter. Did the music. I'm like, this is going to be sweet. Like I'm going to show, because for years people just knew me as a drummer. And then I started doing other things. And I was like, I'm going to, you know, like anyone cared anyway, but I'm going to, you know, sing on this track and release it. And I got through the first verse and I'm like, it's probably not going to sound good. And I listened back. I'm like, I'm never doing this again. Never. And
is that why you don't want to do a Breaking Benjamin cover now?
No, it's just
he's a scarred.
Yeah, I'm scarred forever.
He knows I want to do a Breaking Benjamin cover. So
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, but anyway, that's why I kind of got James.
Well, then, well, then, how did you? Then, were you guys have always been friends, or just met up during that time where you were starting to develop more, getting into making songs, and then just I needed someone else, and then that's when how you guys hooked up.
So we've known each other for years. We've talked about this in the past. We collaborated on a Kill Switch Engage cover. Like, well, this will be hence our band name. 12 years before we put this band together, and that's hence the reason 12 years today became the name. Our bands years ago, like we're kind of traveled in the same circuits, like we knew who we were. We played at a couple shows together, and we just decided that we wanted to do something together. We did it. It was cool, and then we did nothing for 12 years. And
you got out of music completely, did you not?
I did. I backed right out of music. Jay kept doing his thing, and it just happened to be a chance meeting where a mutual friend of ours, I think it was your bachelor party, or
it was
like
that. It was the end. It was the end of the bachelor party.
End of the bachelor party.
We were like, hey, let's go to the bar to end the bachelor party.
A mutual friend spotted my wife and I out like on date night, and was just kind of like shooting the breeze with us, and was just like, I'm just over at Jay Petrolia's bachelor thing right now over at Boston Pizza, and I'm like, oh wow, I haven't talked to that guy in like forever. How's he doing? Blah blah blah. So then he says the same thing to Jay. And Jay's like give him my number. Like this would be cool. Blah blah blah. And then it
was funny because instantly I was like, it's bad. The first thing that came in my mind was like, okay, I can get it. No, I was like, okay, I can get him to sing. I did not care how he was doing. I did not care how his family was. It didn't matter. I said, give me his number. Because I had songs recorded that were a lot different from what I had done in the past, a lot different from what he had done in the past. And I really wanted to see if we could put something together, which these songs that I had done are the songs off our first EP. Those songs were kind of done and waiting for a vocalist. Those songs are actually, at least 6 months older than the EP itself, because those songs were kind of hanging around.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, so what's the different? I think you said different style than what you were into, or were like bands that you were in before? Or?
Yeah, bands that I was in before. James's band was like a hard rock band, right? Would you call it that? I mean, I don't know if I'd call it like I wouldn't say it's like it was like metalcore or anything like that. Like it was
no,
heavy.
God, no, it was more hard rock. It was similar to what we do, but leaning more toward. I mean, it gets so weird when you talk about hard rock and the different branches and stuff like that.
Yes, it's so frustrating.
my previous band would have leaned more towards just like hard rock. Definitely doesn't have the elements of like metalcore and like some of the alt metal stuff that we do. It was just I don't know. It was there were some good moments, but a lot of it was just hard rock 101.
Was it when you kind of quit music altogether? I don't know if this is a personal thing, so I apologize. You can tell me to shut up.
No,
But
no.
like, was it just kind of like something personal, or was it something where you're kind of like, nah, I'm gonna do something else for now, or just, or did you see it as like, okay, I had my time, I just break.
It was several different things at the time. I had met my wife, and I no longer had a huge interest in taking up all of my time just doing music. I wasn't getting along with my drummer. He kind of ran the show in the sense of like we jammed at his place. All the PA equipment and stuff like that was all his and whatnot. So he kind of had this everything is a final decision through me kind of thing. And our lead guitarist and myself, we were actually trying to get the band to go a little bit more metal, a little bit more metalcore, because that's all we listened to was metalcore at the time. Huge music snobs over it. Like even some of the alt metal bands that I love today, I was like, nope, I don't want to listen to Breaking Benjamin. I want to listen to In Flames and Kill Switch Engage and stuff. That's all I wanted to do. And nobody else had any interest in even trying to look in a different direction. So I don't know. It was just a sour taste in my mouth. So I was just like, I'm out. I'm done. This is fine.
And isn't it kind of a sad thing? Like, because not necessarily in that sense, but for me, I've been struggling almost my entire life to get in a band, to stay with a loyal band, that kind of stuff. And it's always frustrating when, I've had, well, good things with drummers, and then a lot of times the breakups with drummers. And I just said this recently to one of the other guys was, I was in a band for one gig and one practice, and the drummer and the guitarist, our very first practice, we broke up that day because of the drummer and the guitarist. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? You guys can't get your crap together just for one freaking practice. But boy, they were hard-headed, and it was just like, okay, this was fun. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
But it's just
Drummers.
so frustrating because drummers. No, but it was that thing where I had all this struggle. I tried to get myself involved with so many different bands and that kind of stuff. And it got to a point where, not kidding, before Aaron and I got together, it was just, I had this weird, deep, like, sense of, oh crap, I'm going to be the guy who does music for a hobby, who just plays guitar. I used to be in bands, this kind of stuff. And that was such a sinking feeling for me. And it was like so depressing because it just took me back to that place. And then lo and behold, I mean, Billy, my brother, showed Max Wassa, our manager, some solo stuff I had and sent it to her. And she's like, no, you need to do something. And so that's what kind of sparked the flame in me to go and met Aaron online and that kind of stuff. And, rest is history. But yeah, that was just a moment of like, this is it. That's not going to happen anymore. I'm just going to be lonely in my room with my guitar. As far as like musician wise, not lonely as in my life, but
that's kind of what happened. That's kind of what happened with my last band as well. Like I think I was 21. I had just met my wife. It was actually like a metalcore / deathcore band where I played guitar, and it was an awesome band.
wow.
It was sweet. Like we had really good shows, and I recorded us, and it sounded so bad. Like it was the worst. We got to a point where like it's like, okay, we got to either drop everything and go all in,
Hmm.
or I need to, it's like, what way are we going to go? And I wanted, a family. I wanted a nice house. I wanted a job. Sounds materialistic, but I wanted nice shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get it. Absolutely.
And I wanted to, because I really didn't have much growing up,
Mhm.
right? Like at all. So um, I chose that path rather than music. And then kind of what you were saying, like I just played guitar and started making my own music. And plus I was like Mr. Control guy in all my bands too. Like full disclosure, like
It's
I was
infectious.
I was that
Weird.
I was that drummer, right? Where it was, but I always found that I always had to babysit. Like I had to make sure everyone was coming to practice. Hey, we're practicing this day. Like no one had any like structure. No one cared. And me, like I'm a planner, and I want to know what's happening. I want to be all in, or let's just not do it. there's no point, right? But now that James and I are old men, you know, we can just kind of pick away at this and do our thing.
Nice being able to do it at our own pace.
Yeah.
I had a similar role to what Jason was just saying. Like in my past band, like I was the one who was getting everybody to jam, and I was the one setting up all the gigs. I was talking to I was trying to get us a manager, all that stuff. I was actually handling business, which was weird because when Jay and I first got together, that was the last thing I wanted to do. And it was probably because I did it for so long and I got nowhere with it. But it was the exact same thing, just trying to rally the troops and get everything together. Because if I didn't, all we would do was meet up like once every couple of weeks, jam out stuff that we already wrote or played a million times. Maybe somebody would dabble in a cover or whatever. And some of these guys were significantly older than me. And I mean, I'm 40 now. So like these guys back then, they were approaching that at the time. So like their ideas about what they wanted to cover versus like what we might want to cover, like me and my younger guy, the lead guitarist, it just didn't mesh.
We do Aerosmith and Pink Floyd.
Oh, one guy, I mean, it made for an interesting mix of sound, like when we made originals, but we literally had like a rhythm.
You had some good tunes though. You had some good tunes.
It wasn't bad. Our one guy was super like 80s guy. Like he was into Judas Priest and like Queensryche and stuff like that.
You could hear the long hair in the music.
Oh, you could hear it. You could hear the long hair.
The leather straps. Yeah.
You could smell the Indian Reserve cigarettes. But
okay, so we're going to edit that out.
Well, that's what he smoked. It was like, hey, I picked this whole carton up for $11. I'm like, yep, tastes like it. Nice.
And you didn't smoke any of them?
No, that's why I said, yeah, I smoked all of them.
Oh.
I smoked my own cigarettes. Are you kidding me? I don't smoke anymore, by the way. But anyway, yeah, let's just get off of that.
That went down a very, anyway.
That went weird.
I can't help, obviously, Jason, to see that are you completely sleeved on both arms?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Unfortunately? Oh, so you got some ones you regret?
I don't regret them. I just, they're there. They're there. I have some that I really like. The majority of them were when I was young and really into alcohol, and we would hang out at the tattoo shop. And like my first tattoo was I was with a buddy of mine. He was getting he's covered head to toe. I always talked about getting one, and he was like, okay, well, I'll get out of the chair and you do it. I said, nah. He said, no, I'll pay for it. I said, oh yeah. And up here, I'm like, oh crap. So I was just like, yeah, whatever, I'll do it. And I sat there and like, he started lining. I have my first tattoo was of an Ibanez RG. Yeah. He started doing the line work for the headstock, and I nearly passed out.
Oh no.
Yeah. And now I'm sitting in the bathroom, like cold sweats. And I'm like, well, I got to do it. Like I can't stop now. Cause this one, like, I'd rather have a bad tattoo and have that be the story than a line and that be the story.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm committed. So I went back and I sat through it. I think it was just the initial shock, cause I never knew what it was going to feel like.
Yeah.
And then, that one was cool. That was a nice tattoo. Nice. I mean, I don't hate it. Then I used to watch a lot of Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid, and we're all sitting in the tattoo shop, and I can only assume we were drunk. One of my friend's buddies was an apprentice there, so I'm sure you can see where the story's going. And I was like, man, I'd love a Dragon Ball Z tattoo. It's up here. He's like, yeah, let's do it. Did that one. I was like, oh, it actually turned out pretty good. I mean, it was pretty simple, right? And then I was like, oh, I want the Slipknot S on the back of my arm. So I got that done, and then I was really into like sprinting and like high intensity workout kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that like really taxed me for whatever reason. Then like the next day I went and worked out all morning, and I was hungover, working out, and then this, and then I ended up getting infected.
Oh, trash.
Yeah. And then while I got that infected, I got strep throat, and I was like, oh, this is horrible.
Oh my
But
gosh.
the thing is all I was thinking about was, I hope I recover soon so I can get more.
Yeah.
And then
I get that. Totally.
yeah, so here, so like like a lot of black here, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to see, but I was really into like Norwegian black metal. Anyway, one of the bands I listened to, the album cover was of like this Grim Reaper, like doing like it's hard to show. Anyway, I really wanted it on my forearm. I was like, that looks badass. And like it had like skulls around it and like all that stupid stuff. So he's like, so I went back to the apprentice. I'm like, can you do this for me? I'm like, in my head, it's like, I want to just do it cheap. Like, how stupid, like that just goes to show how stupid I was.
Yeah.
And so he's doing it. And I'm like sitting here like this, and he's going, and all I'm thinking is, I'm like, I haven't even felt any line work. It's weird. So I look down and he's doing like a negative. Like, so basically, he's instead of tattooing the image, he's tattooing everything but the image to have the image. Is that making sense?
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never heard that.
Yeah, I just remember the word like negative. Like that's how they describe that type of tattoo. And I look back and I was like, I felt so sick. I was like, oh man, like my arm is destroyed. My arm is ruined. Back then, I didn't even remember why I didn't freak out. Probably because it was too far gone. Like, what am I gonna say?
Yeah.
Like stop. So he finished it, and then I kind of just built around it. And I've never considered lasering anything off, but if I ever did, that would be it. And then like I have some like nicer ones. But see if I can pull up the Dragon Ball Z one. I don't know if you can see it, like this guy right here.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Also stupid. Like don't. But I have a piece on my chest too that it was. I really like that one. It was kind of a tribute to my first daughter.
Oh,
so I have ones that I really, really like. You know, like obviously my few most recent ones were, you know, I went to someone who I really liked their work and very collaborative with my ideas and stuff like that. So yeah,
it's kind of hard to find someone that can actually you can really work with instead of they just want your money and they'll just stencil it up.
Yeah, he was so good. Yeah, shout out to Garth Stone in Barrie.
Oh,
here's the deal, James. So the next half-hour segment is all you, buddy.
Lame.
James being very patient.
No, it's all good. Dude, actually haven't heard any of his tattoo stories before, so.
Well, look at that.
Well, it's because they're all bad.
Most tattoo stories are bad or just boring. Like, hey, yeah, this really cool tattoo. Yeah, I got it.
And I mean, go day and I got it.
I mean, this one here, it might be hard to see, but it's like a bird. And it really nice detail work. If you see it up close, like really nice detail work. And that was literally because I wanted a nice tattoo.
Right.
I walked in, I saw my buddy, and I go, dude, like, let's see some of like the flash art stuff, right? And I looked at it and I said, I'll do that.
Yeah.
He goes, cool.
Yeah.
And that was it. And when people are like, what's the meaning behind that? Look at the rest of my arm. And now look at that.
Yeah.
That's the meeting.
So I think that's part of what stopped me from doing it for all those years that I could have been getting tattoos was like, I knew at a certain age, like I was totally into like the things like skulls and Grim Reapers and things like that. But there was always something in the back of my head. It's like, dude, when you're like 30, 40, 50, like, are you still going to be down with that shit?
Yes,
and it's like,
I'm for sure going to be down with all this stuff.
Oh yeah. But it's what stopped me from doing it is what I mean.
For sure.
Right?
For sure. But like, the good thing, dude, is that when I'm old and all wrinkly,
Yep.
Good tattoos look like shit anyway. So it's like,
Yeah,
it's not even like these tattoos are going to go to waste. People are gonna be like, oh, what's that? I could tell them it's anything, and they're going to have to believe
it
me.
won't matter. Like, check out this really sweet tattoo I got. Lost detail. Now it just looks like a shitty Jello mold.
Yeah. And little did they know it was always a shitty Jello mold.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
You're just starts flopping.
No, but I totally get that.
Wave.
Like,
it's a wave.
My tattoo thing is going to be very quick. I don't have any.
Oh,
like
okay.
A flag or something just moving around. Yeah, so I don't have any, but I was supposed to get my first one last year, and then we got hit with another lockdown, so my appointment got bumped, and then it just kept getting bumped. And then when they were ready for me, I tied my finances up in something else. I'm like, I'll have to get back to you.
Yeah.
My intent is still there. Like, I'm not leaving this earth until I get one. But it's definitely not going to be like 18-year-old me who might have wanted a tattoo, where I'm just going to go in, look at something cool and be like, I want this. Like, I got a whole thing planned out and stuff like that. So, hopefully it turns out.
Yeah, plans are good.
Well, it's funny.
It's definitely something I see like, not just Jay, but like I am a huge fan of sleeves. Like,
yeah, me too.
I could see this becoming a thing that snowballs very, very quickly.
Yep.
Where it's just like, if you're like an acquaintance of mine, where it's like you see me like maybe once a year or once every 2 years, it's like you're gonna see me and it's like, hey, James still has no tattoos. Then it's gonna be like, oh, hey, James got a tattoo. And then it's gonna be like, holy shit, James has all the tattoos. Like, and that's probably how it's going to end up going down.
The tattoo shop goes, oh crap, we ran out of ideas.
Yeah.
He's covered now. He's beat Jason.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the hydro company is going to be calling the house looking for their payment. I'll be like, sorry, I needed another tattoo.
It's on me.
Priorities, guys. Turn the heat off. I don't care. It's cold in here anyway. It's fucking Canada. Anyway.
One last thing with that. A friend of mine, Paul, his name's Shannon, and he said, and I actually kind of agree with this, he goes, take an idea if you want a tattoo, and he goes, sit on it for a year. He goes, now, after that year, if you think that's still a good idea, then get it. And I'm like, that's actually not a bad idea. I wish I knew that when I was younger, because I probably would have saved myself from quite a few of them. Not that I regret them. They're just kind of, It was like you, Jason. It was kind of almost random. It was like, oh, yeah, I want that, or I'll get that. That's a good idea. And I have like, the ones I really like are the ones that mean the most to me is probably like Sunny Day Real Estate, because they're my favorite band. So I have 2 of their tattoos on me, but those I don't regret. But as far as the other ones, it really was kind of random. Like, oh yeah, I'll get that. Although I have Blenderhead. Blenderhead was one of my favorite bands too. So I have them, but yeah, it's just kind of random. And I'm really glad I stopped that, because it jumped up my credit cards. and my mom was not very favorable of these. So, it was that kind of thing. But I think that's a good idea as far as like just taking your time waiting. So I think with you, James, it's not a bad idea to kind of, I know it seems like it's just kind of prolonging, but
the reassuring part about that is I've had this idea for my tattoo for about 2 years now. And then with all the delays and not being able to get it or whatever, like, I could sit here objectively, think about my idea, be like, yep, that's still what I want to do. So that's definitely a green light, and I'm excited to do it.
Cool.
I'm really hoping it's one of those situations, as weird as this is going to sound, like big 40-year-old dude gets in there and I just start like passing out or something like that. It'd be a fun ass story, because I definitely, you have that notion that you're going to go in there and be all tough about it, and I know that's not how it's going to work out at all.
Back to the did you say if I do move out east, you'll stab me?
Yes.
Okay, so
that's recorded.
Yeah, that's cool. That's why I got him to say it.
See, some people would have been like, no, I didn't say that. No, I said that. I will stab you twice.
Yeah, I will do it again and again. Yes. Okay, but this is what I was thinking, and this can be on camera as well.
Yeah,
like,
just between us.
What if I do move?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm probably never going to see you again in person. Yeah, I mean, it's a 2-hour flight, that's sweet.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
But I will gift you a DIY vocal recording setup.
Yeah,
that you don't need a special computer for.
Okay.
And you can I can tell you, no, do it again. No, do it again. in a different province now.
In a different province.
But you have your own little space there.
No, it's true. No, it's true.
So
There's in this day and age, there's absolutely nothing stopping us from continuing to do what we do in the capacity that we do it.
Yeah.
If anything, it'd be more convenient.
Yeah.
I mean, the only bummer is that we don't get to crush beers together while we record.
Well, just virtually.
I mean, but not even, because when you're doing your vocals, like I'll probably be doing something else, and when I'm making music, you'll probably be doing something else. So
no, I just mean we'd have to schedule a Zoom meeting to crush beers together.
Oh, I mean, we've done that. We've done that living
We've
half
actually
hour
done
away.
that before. That's fine. And that's like with 30 minutes, time between us. Like I could just drive over in a few minutes, but let's just do this.
You know how I feel about doing things.
I don't like doing things, especially in the cold, because then it's doing cold things.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Like blowing out my tire in your driveway in the middle of a snowstorm. That was fun.
Yeah, I remember seeing you on Twitter about that.
Yeah, I mean,
super sweet.
I mean,
here's a word of advice for people who like using their backup cams. Make sure that it's not covered in snow before you try backing out. And when you realize that you can't see through your backup cam, don't try to use the force and pretend that you can, because a really sharp rock will likely come and
the
ruin
worst
your day.
part about that happening in my driveway is that by the time you texted me to tell me that happened in my driveway, I already had my pants off. So now I get a text message, dude.
Well, I had my pants off too, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, well, I was just like, I climb into bed and I get the text and I said, God damn it. So pants back on, coat, boots. And I look, I go, yeah, that's a flat tire. All right.
Oh, it was a very flat tire.
Super flat.
Super flat.
But we got her fixed up real quick,
Yep.
and you were on your way.
Yeah.
Good
Jay's a
times.
good dude, man. I could change a tire for anybody who's wondering.
He wants everyone to know that. He wants everyone
everybody
to
seemed
know
to make it a really big thing about me making Jason change my tire, and I was like, didn't make the guy do anything.
He did not make me do anything.
I was just
like, listen, I'm a problem solver, and I have to be one very quick. Like, I have to be a very quick problem solver. So I was like, dude, back in the garage. We got this. Done. And I mean, listen, I didn't want to solve the issue for him. I wanted to be pantless again. So I wasn't going to sit around.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to sit around and wait for us to come up with a different solution. I was like, dude, back this thing up. Like, I got a date with
freedom.
no
date with
pants
freedom
dance coming up.
Yeah. So
we got
oh my gosh.
I mean, it's just like, dude, I mean, you come over and you drink the beer that I get for free. So and now I got to change your tire. No, it wasn't like that at all. It wasn't like that at all. It was, it was just, you know what? All joking aside, it was just because it was snowy and blowy and crappy. So he just wanted to get it done.
I think if the shoe was on the other foot, if we were in my garage, I would have done the same thing. I'd just been like, back it in here. I think it's just a convenience thing. By the time I was backing in, he already had the jack ready to go. It was just
nice. There you go.
It's just get her done. But like you said, like,
we're Canadians, we're friendly.
Yeah, that's what we do. He sent me off with my maple syrup and bacon and a big. How you doing?
Do we sound Canadian to you?
Oh yeah.
I've been
really?
I've been told we have. I know it's weird. I try so hard.
It's not weird. I love it.
Canadian.
Have I said? I haven't said a though.
No. There's no A's. I've heard the like a little bit of that in between.
I say that too. Every time I
say a lot, but sometimes
you say a lot. Yeah.
Well,
it's like if I'm wanting you to agree with me, like, that's when I say it. I'm not like, hey, A.
Yeah,
That. I'm just like, hey, James ruined. Like, he really ruined my non-pant time, eh? That's how it would be.
Yeah, we're not Terrence and Phillip. Not always.
Well, it was funny. It's funny when you hear someone's like, for instance, an example, our friends, Space Goat, right? Like, when interviewing them, obviously, we're talking. I said the thing I hate, not interviewing. When I chatted with them, obviously you can hear the Australian accent. When like most people, like bands and stuff, it's so funny for me to go, how is that so different when they sing? Like when Erin was saying one of the songs, I forgot what song it was. She goes, did I sound really Australian? Was my accent super
She's
Australian?
very worried about that. She's asked me
She
the
is.
exact same thing. Like, did my accent come out in that? I'm like, no.
No, but but with Canadians, like you kind of go, okay, well, I mean, is it really that much of a difference? And it's very subtle things though, but it's not
Like a boot.
Yeah,
A
it's just
boot.
like little like things like that, but it's not like anything terribly different that
Yeah.
it's not like I'm going, oh my gosh, you guys, it's
Because
so
like
cute.
you don't sound any different to me, which is weird.
I'm very American.
Some stereotypes would say that you should sound like Matthew McConaughey being out of California like that. Like you should be like, what's up, guys?
Yeah, that's right, guys. All right. I don't know. That's what's so funny. Being American, like I don't know. To me, I just sound American. Like I don't know. I don't do a lot of like, hey, dude, what's up, man? Yeah, like you were saying, like my Matthew McConaughey kind of.
And you're like very nice too, which I mean makes no, but you are like
Well, do you see as Americans most as being douchebags or something, or
no, not really. It just I don't know even why I said that. I just wouldn't expect you to. I don't know. Like I thought we're the nice people.
I love you, man.
I thought we're the nice people.
I know what he's saying is like you listen to the way you speak.
Scotty's a handsome man too, eh?
He is. You're a very good looking dude, man.
You're a very good looking dude, man.
This is the morning. You got my morning face.
But I think it's just
your wife's probably just rolling her eyes. She's like, oh my God.
You're very well spoken, you're very polite. And I think what Jay's getting at is it's very obvious to us polite Canadians that you sound even more polite than we do.
Oh, like by a lot.
Yeah,
by a lot.
Like if we all just hung out one day and we were like, yeah, me and Jay, we're from California, and Scotty over here is from Toronto, they'd be like, yeah, I can see that.
Honestly, like
until we start saying a boot all the time.
I woke up in such a sour mood today, and like you've helped me turn it around. Seriously. Like that's how nice of a guy you are, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I see. See, James, this is the problem. So you said, what you've been talking about.
Problem. What?
No. No, the problem is
what I heard.
I'm not sure if Jason's pulling my leg or not. So you tell me.
No, I'm being very sincere.
No, he's serious.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
It's funny how he has to ask you if it's like, hey, so is this the time that he's bullshitting or is he actually being serious this time?
Which that's fair. Like we're noticing Scotty's demeanor in terms of being very friendly. When you speak, sometimes you get the impression of like, is he being sarcastic right now?
I know, I get that all the time, and it's because
California.
It's because
I get it too.
It's because half the time I am being sarcastic.
Me too.
That's why I was asking Jason, because I wasn't sure if you were pulling my leg.
The exact same thing I'm talking about right now is the thing that people I work with have to deal with on a daily basis, because they don't know if I'm actually being sarcastic, making fun of them, or what, and they just kind of like that. And,
yeah.
Then I let them stew on it for a little while, and then I reveal myself.
You gotta let them stew,
but not in that way.
You have to let them stew.
So I gotta ask, what was your guys' relationship with I was always curious because I always see the interaction with it, but the heavy rock music show, or I keep on screwing that up.
Heavy
rock show, yeah.
Yes. So is it? Oh, no, I'm sorry. So how did you guys get involved with them? Was it just they reached out to you, or I feel like
no? Well, so
forever.
When we first started having a presence on Twitter, like right away. I don't know what I did. I got our music out there. It was our single at the time, Dead of Sin, and Kaz from the Heavy Rock Show came across it and decided she was going to play that. And I think she played Shadows from our Humanity EP, and contacted me and said she wanted to play it on the Heavy Rock Show. So that was a huge deal because, like, I mean, number one, she's awesome and puts together probably one of the best 2-hour radio shows I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Especially if you're into heavy music. But it was the first time we'd ever been played on the radio. That's like rad. Anywhere, So, I mean, it would have been super cool to get played for the first time, like locally, or even like from a station in Toronto or anywhere in Canada, like even like in the US, because we're so closely linked. But the fact that our first time on the radio was all the way over in the UK, that was just something that resonated with us, where we're like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And like how she found it, like I'm sure she found it just by chance.
Yeah.
You know, we got that social media presence, put the music out there, she happened to see it, and that's where it goes from there. You know, and she's probably been one of our biggest supporters ever since. We've been played on the show multiple times. Her theme song is us. It's an excerpt from our song Burn.
I didn't know that.
One of these days we'll have to get a radio friendly version to her so she can play it, because she won't play it on the show, because it's the only song that we've done where I drop an F-bomb.
Oh.
And it's because of that reason, for the most part. Well, several reasons, but that's one of the big reasons why I almost never swear in in one of our songs. It's half that and half because I just honestly feel like I don't need to.
Yeah, it's 50% the radio thing, 50% James doesn't feel the need to, and then another 50% of me saying, "Don't say that."
Yeah. So out of 150%, it's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is.
That's cool though. I like that you consider that though, because I mean, sometimes
it's a personal choice on our end.
Yeah, and sometimes emphasis is cool. I get the emphasis of certain things, but when you just got someone just randomly or just keeps saying it, regardless,
I just find it so corny. I find it so corny.
It does. I agree.
And sometimes this is not a shot at James at all, but it's just like, I think anybody who writes as much as he does gets to a point where it's like, I need a word, right? I'm just saying in general, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I think the good thing with James and I is that we can be honest with each other when it's like, hey, maybe that's not a good, because he's done that for me, like on the music side of things too, where it's like, you know, this would be cool if the bridge was twice as long so I could fit this in, or hey, does this song end too abruptly? Stuff like that. I mean, I always tell him, no, you're wrong, I'm right. But no, I'm just joking. But same goes with, I mean, I don't really pay attention to lyrics, full disclosure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I see everything musically, right?
Yeah.
It's is his melody, like that's kind of what I'm paying attention to.
Yeah.
He very like he does an awesome job writing. Like his writing is what has made me kind of start to pay attention to lyrics, believe it or not, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
But like the whole swearing thing, I just don't like to. It's ironic because I have a very big potty mouth, and I have to watch myself around the kids. Right? I actually got in shit. See, there you go. I got in shit from James's son before, because James' son had his phone, and I said something really vulgar to him, and he responds, "Language," and I'm like, "Who the fuck am I talking to?" But
yeah, he'll call you on that 100%.
Which is good though. Which is good.
Yeah.
You know, my daughter just says, "Hey, that's a funny word." Now I'm gonna say it.
Oh no.
Oh, don't kid yourself. He says it too. He does it in the worst way too. He mumbles it under his breath. When it's like, I don't think it's not a matter of him thinking I can't hear him. It's that whole game where it's like, I'm going to say it quiet enough that you heard me say it.
Yeah.
But it's just quiet enough where I could be like, no, I didn't say that. No, you misheard me.
Yes, you're wrong, Dad.
I said fudge.
Yeah.
At the beginning. But it's just now I pay attention to everything. And I think Aaron has helped me do that with music. But with doing the music, that brought out, again, I know it's very long-winded, it brought out the lyric and melody in me now when doing this with spacing effect. Because I'm more of an emo guy. I'm very old school emo. Again, Sunday Real Estate is one of my favorite bands. And to go from that to a rock band, like the spacing effect, really was a challenging thing for me, because I never tried to express myself in that kind of way. I don't know how to explain that.
No, I get it.
Maybe.
I have a theory behind this. So, like, if you listen to bands called like the new metal era, where you can go back and listen to some of those records where they're dropping F-bombs all the time.
Mhm.
To me, it doesn't sound corny at all. But you listen to music today, the way it's recorded and the way it's produced, because there's so much of the emotion that's pulled out because of how things are recorded. Everything's so perfect. Everything's to a click. Everything's quantized. It's perfect. It's like there's very little
Like
room
breathing room.
there's very little room to feel any emotion in music
Yeah,
these days.
exactly.
And like I don't have much of an interest in a lot of new hard rock because of that. There's like I do have an interest, but there's a lot of band, like the majority. I'm talking 90%, and I'm not trying to sound like a conceited guy or whatever, but
Yeah.
there's so much music that is coming out that could have been really good, but it's, so when you have something with very little emotion to start with, you start throwing in stuff that could be emotional, but it's just, it comes out as corny. So like you
Yeah.
listen to, this
Mhm.
is going to sound cliche, but you listen to Slipknot's self-titled record.
Mhm.
That thing, like that was done off the floor,
Yep.
and you feel like
Everything.
you
Yep.
feel everything. You feel everything. And when you in like his lyrics, and every time he drops that F-bomb, like he means it.
Yeah.
He's not just saying it because he needs filler.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not a
So
swear
if
to
that,
appeal to the young
yeah,
people. It's
like if
True.
you
goes with
listen,
the emotion.
if you
Yeah,
listen to
true.
their new stuff now, and I mean, and I've heard that they don't record to a click and all that stuff, and
Oh, wow.
and Corey doesn't like, yeah, I think it was Jim Root that said something about they tried to do it to a click, but it just didn't feel right because that's not what they do.
Yeah.
They kind of scrapped it all and did it without a click again, and it's, you kind of get that feel back. But even still,
Yeah.
it's still so heavily processed that you like it loses its depth. This is why, like, after every time that I record an EP
Mhm.
for us, I honestly question, and James knows this, I question or not, like, whether or not I want to continue
Oh, yeah.
after,
He's not
because
wrong.
it's so, the feeling isn't there. The feeling
Yeah.
isn't there, right?
I get that.
Like for for our songs, like I don't really edit bass, I don't really edit guitars. Like what you hear is what I played. I may record in sections sometimes, because I'm not a good guitar player at all, so sometimes I have to,
Yeah.
record in sections. But
Me too.
like as for bass, I'll play the entire song start to finish, and I'll do that until I'm happy with it, until it's good enough. Because
Yeah.
I'm just trying, even though the drums are quantized, I still want to have some sort of imperfection throughout,
Yeah.
just to allow for, um, just have a bigger threshold
Different.
of emotion,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
kind of went off on a tangent, but
No, no, no,
like
no, no.
that's why I don't listen to a lot of new stuff, because it's cliche to say,
I think
all music sounds the same, but the problem is that it actually does now.
a lot of it
A
does.
lot of it does. Yeah.
And I can piggyback off of that based off of where we started with that, like with the swears and stuff like that. It goes in two ways. One is just the music itself, and then the other part of it is the swearing, or the cussing, as Scotty says. There's a time and a place, and like Jay said, like with certain bands, like with Slipknot back in the day on their self-titled, there's so much raw emotion coming from that it blends well, and you don't even think about it. And in fact, you would probably think later on, like, well, why wouldn't he be dropping a million F-bombs?
Yeah.
It would almost be silly if he didn't. And it's almost hard to put it into words, but you can tell the difference between somebody who's swearing because that's what needed to be there, versus somebody who's just like, I'm gonna say motherfucker here, and
Yeah.
and it's just something that if you're 16, you're gonna love it because you get a chance to scream, that word.
Yeah.
And you can tell.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for myself personally, like the reason I don't use a lot of that is I think for me it sounds too cheesy. I have things that I'm angry about, but I don't feel the need when we're putting, for lack of a better word, art out into the world.
Yeah.
I don't feel the need to, and this is just my word for it, cheapen it by just saying fuck this, fuck that, or this is shit, or whatever, like in my lyrics. Whereas it's like, no, I could say that a lot more articulately. I could say that in a lot more poetic way that people hopefully would appreciate a lot more. Not that there wouldn't be a moment where I could use swears. I feel like where I have used them, which again, very minimal, I feel I have used them appropriately. But even then, like I listen to it myself and I cringe a little bit. And it's just kind of like, I realize no, it works, but man, I really don't like it.
Not interested in what you say. And who the fuck asked anyway? Holding the key, forcing you down.
Another an example, and this isn't to shit on another band at all. I'm just like this is an example, and I believe the band's Falling in Reverse. I believe it is the song "Popular Monster."
Yeah.
So that song is awesome, except when the bridge happens and he says, "Here we go again, motherfucker."
Yeah.
100% worst part of the song.
When I heard that, I was like, song ruined. Because it's so good. Like
There's Emotionless
so
and White
cool.
song that does the exact same thing, and off the top of my head I can't think of it, but it's a solid tune. You know, it's one of those songs where you're like,
"Here we go again, motherfucker."
And it's similar to that.
And
it is motherfucker, and it's almost the way he says it, and it's like you're like, oh, like everything was so good, and you threw that, like that didn't need to be there. And I mean, that's to each their own. I mean, both of those bands.
Well, that's for sure just my opinion.
For sure. I mean, both of those bands, I think they're considered like scene bands. They have gazillions of fans who would love to just attack us like brutally for saying that. But in context, we're not wrong. Because it's opinion, and it's just like I think
it's very valid.
Well, it's just driving the narrative of like why we're saying what we're saying in terms of like why we don't go that route. And maybe just to put it more bluntly, maybe it's just because, you know, guys like Ronnie Radke from Falling in Reverse, because he can pull it off, you know.
True.
You look at that guy or you listen to them or something like that, you're like, yeah, that guy can pull off a motherfucker in the middle of the song. Me, not so much. I really don't think people buy it, especially this deep into our work, you know, and my work as far as lyrics are concerned. You'd go through the whole catalog and be like, well, why is he doing that now? That's not him. That's not what he does.
Yeah.
So you look at
with some bands,
and I wasn't texting on my phone.
Uncharacteristic.
I was looking it up because I couldn't remember what it was called, but like Suicide Silence first record, the Cleansing.
Yeah.
He could swear all he wants.
Yeah.
And that record, I believe was like recorded off the floor too. Like it's literally just raw.
There's
and
still such a difference.
Right. Like, you know, and I often wonder what it would do for us if I recorded it that way.
It's worth trying, maybe
even further. You know, I'll just judge everyone else instead. But anyway, that's my theory, if you will, behind why swearing is a little more cringy now. Like, there's part of me where it's like, I think it's because we're older now and we're more mature, but not really. Like, I don't, because again, on my way home, I have an hour drive to work, and my way home, I listen, and that's why I brought up Slipknot Self-Titled, because that's what I listened to on my way home. And I was just like, this is so badass still. Like, I don't feel weird listening to it. I don't feel any of that. Like, quite frankly, I get like goosebumps still on certain tracks, just because it's so like, you know, unbelievable.
It's so raw. Yeah, it's just,
you'll never get that again. You'll never get that again, man.
That's what's so great about, like, again, even going with kind of like connecting it is like even like Korn's first album, I feel like was just raw,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
just
Oh,
in your
yes.
face, and just
The first few of their records were
Yeah.
were done the same way
So
as
those would
True.
be some of the most raw and powerful things ever
Yeah.
recorded.
and funny enough, Ross Robinson was the producer, I believe, for Korn's first.
I think it was first 3 or first 2. I
Yeah,
can't remember.
something like that. I think Follow the Leader was the first one that he wasn't involved in.
Yeah.
But so like same era, same style of producing, like, it really shows. It really shows. And I mean,
Yeah.
imagine being Ross Robinson and seeing how prepackaged everything sounds now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear his opinion on like where
Yeah.
he was and where he is now with his view on the music industry.
He was so passionate about that raw emotion back then. Like you see interviews of him back then.
Yeah.
I can only assume that he's at the very least a little bit disappointed with how the majority of heavy music is produced.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is Aaron pointed out to me, because I don't have the ear that Aaron does. And he goes, dude, everything nowadays, like you hear that's hard, you can tell it's just everything's just loud. It's the mixes are horrible, and it's just to drive that bassy sound. It's to make it sound thick by turning up the volume pretty much. It's
Yeah.
not mixed well. If you hear most of the stuff, he goes, it's horrible mixing. And it's
Yeah.
just because these live metal bands like to just have everything louder and thick because that's what everybody else is doing, because they want that sound. But as far as quality, it's not there. But even like, but just even what you're saying, to get like the raw emotion, I can't remember like really a raw emotion, like hard band that's released something within the past, even like 5-10 years. I mean, there's some other stuff maybe like, but not of that genre, I should say, that I can hear that in. But as far as like the new metal and stuff, it's not really there. I can't really point anybody out that comes to mind. And I listen to a lot of metal too, so it's like, and you don't feel that way anymore. You don't
It's hard to pull it out. I think there's a certain standard and a certain way to record these days that is just everyone's gotten so used to. Like, that's what it comes down to, is things just aren't done the way they were before, when those bands that we're talking about were recording off the floor and getting that kind of sound. The audio in which people are digesting this music these days, like we have systems now that play music that are so much different from when we were young, where now, like what you were saying, there's so much emphasis on getting that thick bass in there, as opposed
I do it for us. I mean,
Yeah.
I do it for us. Like,
Yeah.
I'm comparing stuff today because I almost feel like I have to, in a sense, just to at least compete is not the word, but at least to like,
I know what you mean though.
I know what you mean.
You know what I
Just
mean?
to hang
Like,
with what's out
to
there.
hang,
Yeah.
to hang with them, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be going the other way where it's like, their songs would be better if it sounded like this,
I get that. Yeah.
And again, snobs, music snobs would probably be like, well, that's, you're not being true to your art, man. Well, I kind of am, because I want people to listen to it. And
Yeah.
So
Yeah. When it comes down to it.
I was in a deathcore band, a drummer that back in like 07, and I recorded our EP, and it was pretty live. I got that vibe where you listen to it and you're like, this does not sound polished, but it still sounds good. And you get those one-off mistakes that happen to make the song better. Just the raw vocals, like we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I wish if I was ever to somehow become an athlete and be able to play those drum parts again, I would love to redo a record like that, like in that format.
Okay, so with Escape the Gray, your brand new EP, have you guys had more offers for talks, for podcasts, for interviews, for anything like that?
There's been talk, but not a whole lot of like I don't have anything on the books kind of thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm really surprised, honestly. Well, no, not. I don't see that in like. I don't mean that to sound whatever, but
it's getting a lot of radio play. So in that aspect, so it's not that people aren't feeling it or that it's not out there. It's just nobody wants to talk to us.
But you guys are so nice.
Yeah, sometimes.
I know you're.
I think what it boils down to is finding, we'll just say podcasts, for lack of a better term, that want to do this kind of thing. Aren't probably as frequent as it looks, and like we've done a lot. Like we did a lot, like in the short time that we've been around doing this, like having a social media presence. Like it's only been like just over a year. We've done a lot of podcasts. So when it comes down to that, it's probably just a matter of like, so we've been on those shows, so those people are now, you know, helping and focusing on other bands and stuff like that. We have our own, we just haven't done anything in a very long time. Like I don't remember the last one we did, if it was just us. I remember the last time we had a band on there was Core Anima, and that was last summer. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, so that was a while ago.
Yeah.
But
and they have some new releases coming up too, don't they?
He says he does. I keep razzing him about it, saying like, you know, like, when is it coming now? And he's always like, I know. He's like just trying to get studio time and you know, rally the troops and stuff like that. But yeah, and I know they got new music coming out, and I'm stoked for that because they're awesome. So
it's really been a really cool thing, and I know I've talked about this with Space Scope. It's been, and I think even Call of the Void, but it's just really cool to see like just this unity of bands, of just support, just constant support and tagging. And the problem is I kind of lose what is this? Because I'm still like, even though I've been with Twitter for like over a year and a half or whatever it is, I still don't understand it a lot of times. So when I see these long feeds of tagging, I'm going, who said what? Wait, how do I check? You know, and I kind of give up.
Those rabbit holes go pretty deep sometimes, and they're a little hard to, you know, a lot of times too, because someone random will start a new one, and then they'll end up tagging somebody that's kind of like, for lack of a better term, in our little community. So then they tag us as well. But it's like, so now I've been tagged in like 5 different, you know, threads groups, in a matter of like 1 or 2 days. And it's like trying to keep up with it. Right. So sometimes you tag. That's why for me, sometimes I will continue tagging people, and sometimes I'll just like and be like, thanks so much. And I'll just let it breathe for a little while. Right. Because I do it myself for the most part. Like I do that, the playlist, the list. And I've been building that for well over a year now, and like just constantly updating it. But I shout out those, I tag every single band that's on that list. I tag them every Sunday, almost without fail. If I miss it, then it's done the next day. You know. And then I do Friday shout outs, which is basically just the little circle thing or whatever like that. Which, just to explain, because I explained it on social media the other day, because I don't think some people understand how it works. I'm not choosing who's in the inner circle or who's in the outside. Like, it's not a matter of like, I like these people more, and then, you know, whatever. And it's just like, you were here last week, now you're out here, and that means I don't like you as much. Like, that's not what it is. It's an algorithm. And it's basically like, so if you and I, whether it's through, you know,
just based on interaction. It's based on interaction.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And if we talk a lot over the course of a week, you're going to end up in that inner circle. And if I don't hear from you at all, or you don't hear from me, or just once, you're probably going to be on the outer rim. And that's just what it is. And the only reason I do it is just to showcase people that have been supporting us. And I thought it was pretty cool because it's like, it shows a blend of fans, media personality, we'll say, friends, and other bands. You know, as opposed to just like, here's the list this week and it's all bands. I feel like some of the people, especially because it's our thread, the people that have been that support us day in and day out, they're gonna get a shout out like all the time, because I wouldn't be doing any of this. You know, we wouldn't be doing any of this if it wasn't for them. So you put your stuff out there, and if nobody cares, well, then you don't do it anymore. And that's why we continue to do it, is because there are literally people scattered across the globe, which is a really cool thing to say.
Yeah.
There's literally people scattered all over the globe that love what we do, want us to keep making music, and then like just gorge on it when we release it. And I love that.
Yeah.
So,
No, and
well
I love
said.
My boy.
Oh.
My boy Wilsey.
Oh my gosh, looks like one of my old dogs when I was a kid.
So, but
Aw.
yeah, that's going back to Escape the Gray. Like, as far as podcasts and interviews are concerned, like, yeah, that there's not a whole lot of that going on right now, but the support for it, both streaming wise and radio wise, honestly, like I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah.
Where I know I can go onto my feed at any time and I'm gonna see radio stations tagging us saying that they're playing us.
Yeah.
You know, people are gonna be tagging songs saying like, this is what I'm listening to right now. And that's awesome. That continues to remind me day in and day out that that's why we do what we do. And I hope bands that are on like a massive commercial wave of success feel the same way when they see that from their fans. Like, I hope it's not just becoming one of those things where they see like, hey guys, here's our new single, you know, like Foo Fighters or something put out their new single, like, hey guys, you know, I hope you like it, and they get like 13,000 likes or whatever, and they're just kind of like, yeah, of course we did, because we're the Foo Fighters. Like, I hope they continue to look at that kind of stuff and are like, this is so cool that this many people respond, because I see that stuff all the time from bigger bands that I follow. They put something like that out in, and they'll have thousands of likes, retweets, responses in a matter of like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'll get giddy about stuff when it's just like, I get 20 likes in like 6 hours.
You know, no,
it's
I'm
like,
with you.
like, yeah, we're awesome. We're so popular.
I feel like Dave Grohl is that kind of guy, though. I feel like Dave Grohl is so respectful of where he came from and where he's at now that he realizes. Hence, that's when he, like, you know, invites people on stage, or you know, or plays a song with someone that blew up on YouTube or whatever it is. Because I feel like he's still connected with that the struggling musician or the dreamer but you know what I'm saying.
He's the epitome of the guy who appreciates the position that he's in right now. And he might likely wake up every day and still like, wow, I'm here. This is who I am. Because I think legit, I don't think many people would argue, like, when you think of like when we were kids and like you look at like who were giant like icons, especially in rock music, like who were the big rock icons when we were kids. That's who he is now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you were to think of like a Mount Rushmore of, you know, rock bands or like frontmen or something like that exist today that have that kind of stature and that kind of success, it's like, it's a very small group of people. And I think Dave Grohl is definitely one of them, along with guys like Corey Taylor and stuff like that.
I think even you guys, seem like you're very rooted into your love of music, and not just like, because I mean the financial part, I feel like that's just kind of like it's not going to happen really, because the industry has changed so much. It's
we've made like $0.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle, right? If you want to be a touring band,
that's where you go.
It's the lifestyle type of thing, right? Which that's totally okay too. You know?
But it's very hard to have what we have and be able to do that. Like, you know, both Jay and I have jobs, but like they're basically careers at this point. Because of everything that comes with it, you know, and then our families, like, you know, I have a wife and child, he has a wife and child with, you know, you all another one on the way, right? Stuff like that. So
help me.
Move closer.
But that being said, like you said, like, to be a touring band and to do all the things and like putting it in perspective, to even be the kind of band that you would want to, you could make a living, like not be rich, filthy rich rock stars, but make a living back even in the 90s and early 2000s, when it was easier for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Where you could just get your music out there and you're selling physical CDs and this, that, and the other thing. Nowadays you have to do that.
I don't think it was easier. I don't think it was easier back then. I think
what I'm getting at,
I think it was way less saturated, right? I mean, it's actually because how easy it is now.
Yeah,
is why it's harder.
Right? Exactly, and I think that's what I was getting at. It's
point.
like you have to tour twice as hard. Like I can remember thinking, like, I'm wearing the shirt now, so I say, like, Metallica will always do like tour something, and it'd be like a year and a half, 2 years they're touring. That's how they toured the Black Album back in the day, and they didn't have to, but they were so hot. They were like, at what they were doing, like they just kept going, right?
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, it's like, if you're gonna reach the kind of stature that you want, either financially or just notoriety or whatever the case may be, in the music business, you have to do it that way. It's no longer like we're a marathon band, we're just going to tour because we just love doing it so much. I mean, even if that is the case, you just don't really have a choice, because if you don't, you're not making anything. You're not going to make any money because you don't have physical album sales to kind of pad that bank account. If you're not making money through your merchandise and through your touring, well, then you're not making money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, obviously the whole thing that's going on with Spotify and, just streaming things as it is. I mean, without getting into it, it just straight up, they don't pay enough, and everybody knows it.
Yeah.
But therein lies the point, is you can't rely on having 10 million streams, as awesome as that is.
I couldn't imagine. This isn't talking negative about bands who do this for a living, but I couldn't imagine that pressure unless you just wanted that life, and that's all it comes down to. That's all it comes down to. You
said lifestyle, right?
That's all it comes down to. 13, 14 years ago, when I decided, you know what? No, I want a house one day. I want a family, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I knew that me trying to attempt to make it, right? I didn't want that lifestyle. I doesn't really matter to me, right? The playing every night would be sweet, right? That would be awesome. Playing to people that, so let's do the next best thing, which is what we're doing.
Yeah. It'd be great if, I'll just nerd this up a little bit here. It'd be great if we could just.
Is there any more room to further nerd it up?
Absolutely. It can get super weird from here.
Were we talking about Escape the Gray?
Transport ourselves to like a stage somewhere, like a stage in Los Angeles, a stage
in the metaverse,
Toronto, and just come back at the end of the night.
Let's just do metaverse touring.
Right? That'd be dope. I'd just be like, I'm hanging out here having dinner with my family at 5:30 or whatever, and then it's like, oh, we got to be on stage.
Going to work, babe.
Just
turn on the camera.
Be like, all right, I'll see you later, and then just go and beam myself over to wherever I'm going. So hopefully there's somebody even more nerdy than me thinking about this right now, going, how can I make this happen?
Side note that this will help end this topic and we can move on, but quickly, I might be putting an offer in on a house near you. Well, not near you, but kind of like in the same town.
Yeah.
So that's why I've been like looking at my phone, because I'm doing real estate deals, because I'm a fucking big shot.
Hold on,
Spotify dollars.
That's a go for Jason.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yes, spend the bank's money. Sounds good. Anyway.
Yeah.
Escape the Gray.
Yes, Escape the Gray. So we'll get there with this. Okay. So how long did it actually take you guys to do that album?
Jake can start that off.
Okay. So we released our single Unveiled, like, when was it? Last May?
We released it May 1st
of last year.
Really? Was that long ago?
Yeah. So that was the single. And then we had an issue with Spotify with music going missing and blah, 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 blah.
I remember that. Yeah.
That totally, at that point, I remember even saying to James, I was like, I think I'm done.
Yeah, that derailed us.
Like, I think I'm done, because I mean, the only reason why we're doing this is so people can listen to it.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
care about money at all.
Yeah. Ditto.
And if we can't even get it out there,
That's
I'm
the
out.
point. Yep.
We had some time to kind of cool off. I wrote a couple songs. Or I wrote a couple the music
Angry songs with F words.
I wrote a couple tracks, which was Blood from Our Eyes and then A Fool's Paradise. Long story short, we got that out there. And then but when I had originally recorded Unveiled, I had 3 other songs done, which are the other 3 songs on the EP.
Okay.
That was kind of going to be the follow-up to our In Times of Madness EP, which had Dead of Sin on it and that kind of stuff. James and I were kind of going back and forth recently. I don't know, I guess maybe 2 months ago. What do we want to do next? We've already released these 2 other singles that really don't belong anywhere other than just being singles.
Yeah.
I was like, we could re-release Unveiled and we can release this EP that we'd never did anything with. So long story short, I sent them off to James. He did his thing. We got together. We kind of hammered them out. Yeah. And everything was kind of already mixed from back then. So, I mean, I don't love how it sounds. I probably might listen to that EP like 2 more times in my entire life. I just don't like sonically. I don't like anything we do.
Really?
But it's horrible.
He does this every time we release something.
I mean, every EP gets a little better sonically, but I can't stand it. I like the songs and I like what we did.
Yeah.
But for me to listen to it, and it's hard because I have I'm really, really into audio, high-end audio. Yeah. I can talk about
techie stuff,
frequency numbers and crossovers, and I can talk about that all day long. So when I listen to our stuff on a system that I have and it's an old analog system, but it actually was to compete. So it's a solid state amplifier that was built late 80s to compete with like full tube amps made by like Macintosh. So Macintosh is like, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're like an amplifier. No problem spending 10 grand on an amplifier from Macintosh.
Holy crap.
Oh yeah. You can get pretty crazy. And this amplifier was built to compete with that for a fraction of the price. I think it was like 2 grand back in the 80s, which that's a lot of money back then. So anyway, the point behind it is this audio system, there's no coloring to it. It's very flat. What you hear is how it was recorded. It exposes everything. So you listen to a Bluetooth speaker, it all sounds whatever. It sounds kind of whatever. You listen to it on that, it's just like, you suck, you suck, you suck. You're kind of good, you suck. So when I listen to it, and even in my vehicles where I listen to it, that's like half the testing, right? As I'm sure you know.
Yep.
It sounds good in the car, then you're good. And I listened to it and I was just like, okay, it sounds good, but I could just be going crazy. Like I'll never be happy. So I have to stop at some point.
He's an extreme perfectionist. And I mean, it just speaks to his craft of what he does. And I mean, I hear it post-release too, just not to the extent like it goes without saying, like nothing's ever perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect.
Yeah.
But you get to a certain point, you hear it, you're happy with it. You're like, yeah, this is it. This is where I want it. You release it. And then X amount of days, weeks, whatever goes by, and you're listening to it and you hear something. And I'll speak from my perspective. I'll hear something and I'll be like, we should have done this, or this could have been this. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, well, it is what it is. It's out there. So that's when I do it. When that happens to Jay, he's like, I want to drive myself off a cliff because he can't stand that, either something didn't turn out the way he had intended,
or I'd hear there was times where I would hear a click or something, or something, or like a breath that I didn't want in there. And I'm like, oh man, I like there's been times where I've uploaded it to the distributor and I've sent it off, and I'm like, I go back and I hear something, I go, I can't release this. So I have to go back, cancel it. Now it delays everything. That's why this last EP we did, we didn't say when the release date was until I couldn't take it back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
we have sent stuff off to be distributed and then like panicked and we're like, no, we can't do this, and then we pull it back because we knew, right? And I think we were just kind of afraid to say to each other like, this isn't where it should be. And it was kind of good that we did that, because then that kind of set a standard for us to say like, we will never release something that at least in the moment we're not 100% sure that we want to release.
Yeah, we have to put our excitement aside.
Yeah,
right. We have to like
exactly.
we have to stay grounded there. But getting back to what I was saying, like that EP was recorded, almost a year ago, and I feel like I would have done things so much differently. But the crazy thing is, if you record something and it's all done, like, so everything that you hear, like that was at one point in the demo stages. So I've never, I'm going to re-record guitars here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it's in my brain, it's burned in my brain now that it sounds a certain way, and I'll never be able to replicate that. Yeah. Same guitar, same strings, same settings, same everything. I'll never be able to replicate that. Yeah. So I've learned that you have to just keep what you've got, right? Like if you've had it for a long period of time. If you're just dicking around or whatever, that's one thing. But so for example, like at one point I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to try and re-record our first EP. So I opened up the project files, got rid of the bass, did the bass, got rid of the guitars, redid the guitars. And it was not the same. Even though sonically it may have sounded better. Yeah. The song is just, now it's completely different. And I can't, and then I want to climb to the highest roof in my neighborhood and just swan dive off it.
Yeah.
Right?
What did I do?
Yeah. So, as like, I don't even listen to our first EP. There's not a chance I can't listen to it. Yeah. It's unlistenable as far as I'm concerned. And I can't even re-record it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it is what it is now.
It doesn't exist in my world.
Which is why it probably bothers him so much, because like he said, that the stuff for Escape the Gray, the music for the most part, had been done for quite a long time. It was all part of a project that was supposed to be released, accompanying the Unveiled single back in May. Long time fans, if that's even a thing at this point, will remember we actually released a teaser for The Evolution of Me back in, I don't know, June or something like that. Because we were teasing the next single, which basically was going to be the catalyst for releasing the rest of the EP. Okay. And then the stuff that we ended up having to deal with all summer happened. So that never came to fruition. And like Jay said, he ended up writing a couple of other songs that were Blood from Our Eyes and A Fool's Paradise, which were a lot angrier in tone, because that's where we were at the time. And we decided, no, this is where we need to go. And then we can come back to this. We actually hadn't even said that. We hadn't even really decided that we were going back to those songs yet. But once everything, once the flames kind of fanned or whatever, we were able to go back and look at that music objectively and be like, okay, it's time to release this stuff, because we were in a much different place. But that's the beauty, is we're always in different places. Yeah. So talking with Jay over the last several weeks or whatever, like plans for new music moving forward is going to be even more different than what we've just put out.
Yeah. So full disclosure. So there's a song that's done musically that I couldn't sleep one night, and I ended up, long story short, I did my first like guitar solo in a song. Oh, okay. So we have out of
it's
all
sick,
of our,
by the way.
Don't say that.
It is. I love it.
Oh man.
Don't say that, because he's gonna have to go redo it.
No, I just won't
feel that way
it.
anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I just won't release it. No, I am not a guitar player, right? I'm a drummer and a bass player, and I just
Alright.
want to write songs, so I pick up a guitar. That's how you can describe me as a guitar player. So you'll like the first guitar solo that appeared in our music was on a song called Infinity from our second EP. I had my buddy Jesse come and do a solo because I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And then the song Shadows, which is on the same EP, the acoustic song, I had my longtime friend AJ come play the guitar solo, which is awesome. I love it. Yeah, there was another one that AJ and I did. It was easy for me because I just harmonized what he was doing. I didn't have to actually write the solo. I just harmonized with him, so super easy. And then I was like, man, I really don't want to just keep doing the same thing. Like, I mean, I usually stick to like 2 or 3 formulas, right? It's like intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus.
Yeah.
Where it's like this one song, I couldn't come up with a bridge that I liked. Everything was sounding forced. I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll just do a solo. Like, let's get out of the comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was up, which sleep is like, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but that's like top priority to me. It's, I mean, but I couldn't sleep one night. So I picked up my guitar and I started making the solo. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. You know, so the next song, hopefully if James' part doesn't suck, which I don't think it will. No, you never know though.
You never know.
You never know.
It might suck. It won't. It might suck.
See, I like it.
It probably won't.
There's a good chance it won't.
Yeah, like 98%. Sure.
I'm looking forward to it. I was literally thinking the other day, and it really stemmed from listening to a lot of the music off of the list. It inspires me because the list is very eclectic. It stays in a certain wheelhouse, I feel, but it's still very eclectic, and there's a lot of stuff out there that's inspired me, and quite frankly that'll all get washed away when Jay sends me whatever it is, because then that usually ends up inspiring me, and I'm in that mode where it's like I'm ready to write something else, and we don't sleep on shit too long. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I agree.
Escape the Gray is out there. It represents a certain time in our lives, I guess, where he was in a certain place, so he wrote a certain way. I was in a certain place and I wrote a certain way. It's out there. People are digesting it. They're loving it. I see the love that's out there for it.
Much appreciated, by the way.
Yeah, very much appreciated.
Awesome.
But we can't wait to just keep dropping new stuff out there for people. We have directions that we haven't spent a lot of time in before that we'd like to. Just keep people guessing. Just when they think like, oh, okay, 12 Years Today is releasing new music and I have an idea what that's going to sound like. No, you don't.
See, I like that. What's really cool, you guys actually, I have to give you huge credit. Because of Bleed Through Our, is it Bleed From Our Eyes? Yeah, Bleed From Our Eyes, right?
What's that? Sorry?
I'm sorry. Bleed From Our Eyes?
Blood from Our
Eyes. Why did I say bleed? Sorry. That actually influenced me a little to the point where I was like, I feel like we need to go lower in our tuning, because we've always kind of done a little bit of like D, a little lower than that sometimes. But I feel like you guys go to like what, a C or a C sharp or something?
Blood From Our Eyes is an A.
That's an A?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Actually, so is A Fool's Paradise.
Yep.
Yeah. They're in
both of those songs. That's why it has the darker feel to it that it has, is because we went dark.
I love it. And I was like, okay, that's it. I think we should let's try something a little different and go a little lower. So one of the newest songs I have for a demo, I went a little bit lower. I went to C. But it's doing a little bit stuff with that. I was like, I like this sound a lot better.
It's cool. It's cool. And sometimes it can be inspiring to change. Like we've done Unveiled is in C.
Okay.
The song Unveiled from Escape the Gray. And then so is Evolution of Me. Escape the Gray is actually in C sharp, but I played a standard 5-string bass to get that low B, which you may hear in the chorus.
Yeah.
And then what's the last song called? The Weight of It All. That's
such a good song.
Thank you. That was I actually think it was in C sharp as well, because I played the 5-string. Actually, the 5-string standard tuning bass. So,
Which,
Well,
speaking of that, that's the overwhelming response that we've got for that song in particular, because a lot of people were very excited that Unveiled was back to be able to stream and add to their playlists, because it was missing for a while. So that's still getting a lot of love on its own. But as far as things that nobody had heard before, that seems to be getting the most attention, praise, whatever you want to call it. And we really appreciate that. I know lyrically on my end, it was a very personal song. So I dig when people are really feeling that.
This barren place, broken and left all alone. I feel the weight of it all, wasting.
And
I appreciated you doing that the other day when you said, "Hey, what's your deepest song?" or
your most
lyrically
personal
deepest.
song to date.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
I
it was just an
appreciated you
idea
doing
that
that.
struck me at the time, and I'm like, hey, you know what? This could be something, and like, I love making playlists. Shocker. But you know what? Those playlists work, man.
Yeah, it
And
does.
I was able to reach out to some bands that are in a much better position on the hierarchy than we are, like bands like Any Given Sin and stuff like that. And they responded. Like when I asked them straight up, what's your most personal song? And they're like, this is it. And it's like, they don't have to answer me. Do you know what I mean? They could just be like, cool, buddy's making a playlist, we don't need your help, because they don't. They definitely don't. There's tons of bands out there, even on that list, that don't need our help. But they respond, and that's really cool. So making that playlist was really fun, knowing that every song on that list was handpicked by the artists themselves, saying like, no, this is our most personal song for whatever reason. You know what I mean? It wasn't about let's get into the reasons why. It was just tell me what it is, I'll put it on there, and hopefully people will go through this playlist and listen to everybody maybe give their most personal take on whatever it is that they're putting out there.
See, you have like feelings and stuff like that, which is nice. Like I've been referred to as the Tin Man.
You are dead inside.
Yeah. So I mean, it's good that
I feel like we've said that on a podcast before, but
well, it's true.
We'll save that for like a part 4 or something sometime.
I feel like Jay. I feel like Jay has said to me in the past, "Don't make me feel my feelings."
Well, you guys, okay, so we got 2 minutes, and I know we've gone long, but I can't thank you enough for taking all this time out of your day to talk with me and chat with me about your.
No, this was awesome, man.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
But waiting to talk to you for a long time, it gets old talking just on social media with texting and stuff, and it's like, you gotta talk to this guy in real time.
Yeah, right. That's how I felt too. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, guys. This is a real treat for me. This will definitely have to be a 2-parter. I'm sure someone looked and went, it's 3 hours. Oh my God, it's like a Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
People who are going to be interested in watching something with us, they're going to be ready for that, because all of our stuff is long.
Oh, okay.
They'll be like, oh,
they know.
12 Years Today's on a podcast. Okay, I'll set aside my entire afternoon.
But yeah, okay, guys. Well, thank you again. Yes, so Escape the Gray is out, the new EP, and looking forward to new stuff, especially the song you guys were talking about. So, you guys, thank you again, and I will see you on the socials.
Thanks, man.
Good. Thanks
All
again.
right, have a good day.
Have a good day, man.
All right, thank you.